Why is it that nearly every child prodigy in music history eventually fades into obscurity or faces a public crisis? Yet Jordan has managed to become more powerful in 2026 than ever before. Tonight, we examine the breaking of the child star curse, a phenomenon that has claimed the careers of countless young talents. For decades, the music industry has followed a predictable and often tragic pattern. A child goes viral, they are exploited for their novelty, and once they hit adulthood, the public loses interest. But as we look at the current state of the global music world, Jordan has every statistical probability. By early 2026, she has not only survived the transition into her 20s, but has strategically dismantled the barriers that usually lead to a premature industry exit. This isn't just about a beautiful voice. It is in career longevity that is currently being studied by major management firms in Hollywood as a new gold standard for developing stars. Can a singer's greatest physical risk, the natural evolution of their voice, actually be the very thing that secures their place among the legends? The most dangerous hurdle for any young vocalist is the inevitable physical change of their instrument during the transition to adulthood. History is littered with voices that were technically perfect at age 10, but became unrecognizable or strained by age 20. Critics waited for years, expecting Jordan's haunting depth to vanish as she matured. However, her 2026 vocal performances reveal a metamorphosis that has left experts stunned. By working with specialized coaches and reportedly taking extended, quiet breaks from heavy touring during her mid-teens, she allowed her resonance to mature without the typical strain of overwork. The result is a 2026 tone that is richer and more complex than her viral beginnings. She didn't lose her gift to time. She refined it, turning a potential career-ending change into her greatest professional asset. In an age where constant social media presence is the only rule for survival, how did a total blackout period save a career? The most brilliant move in Jordan's 2026 playbook was her decision to simply disappear from the mainstream eye. At the height of her initial American fame, when most management teams would have pushed for more content, more ads, and more tour, Jordan went largely silent. This calculated absence between 2024 and 2025 allowed the collective memory of the little barefoot girl to fade just enough to be replaced. It was a high-stakes gamble, but it worked perfectly. When she re-emerged in 2026, she wasn't a child trying to act like an adult. She was a woman whose talent felt brand new to a public that was ready for a fresh start. By allowing herself to grow up away from the prying eyes of the cameras, she avoided the uncanny valley phase that makes so many child stars feel stuck in a past that no longer exists. Is the secret to surviving the shark-infested waters of the music industry as simple as refusing to give up ownership of your soul? While she stayed away from the spotlight, Jordan was busy quietly building an independent empire designed specifically to protect her from the typical industry pitfalls. Most child stars are trapped in predatory, long-term contracts signed by guardians when they were too young to understand the fine print. Jordan, however, utilized her family-run management to maintain total ownership of her image, her branding, and her master recordings. By 2026, she has become one of the few global artists her age who does not owe a debt to a major conglomerate. This independence allowed her to say no to the high-pressure, cookie-cutter pop projects that usually burn out young artists before they reach their prime. She chose her own pace, her own sound, and most importantly, her own future, proving that autonomy is the ultimate weapon. Has the most recognizable signature in music evolved from a touching childhood story into a sophisticated 2026 symbol of rebellion? Even her most famous trademark, performing without shoes, underwent a massive transformation in 2026. What began as a viral story of childhood empathy for a shoeless girl in Asia has evolved into a sophisticated brand identity that signifies raw, unpolished authenticity. In an era dominated by AI-generated music and heavily filtered images, Jordan's barefoot philosophy has become a symbol of her refusal to be manufactured or controlled. American audiences in 2026 have embraced this as a mark of a true artist rather than just a stage gimmick. She has successfully reclaimed her own narrative, proving that she wasn't just a girl who forgot her shoes, but a visionary who understood the power of a unique visual identity long before the marketing experts did. This consistency has created a visual shorthand that makes her instantly recognizable globally. Can a single residency in the desert serve as the official funeral for a Prodigy image and the birth of a global icon? The culmination of this multi-year strategy was seen during her 2026 Las Vegas residency at the. Instead of playing the greatest hits of her child star days to satisfy nostalgic fans, she performed an entire set of original material that dealt with complex, adult themes of identity and survival. The critics who once labeled her a novelty act were forced to admit that she had moved into the territory of legendary vocalists. The curse that usually ends in a quiet exit or a public crisis was nowhere to be found. Instead, there was only a confident, world-class artist who had successfully outrun her own shadow. This residency was more than a series of concerts. It was a re-debut that told the world the child star was gone and a legend had arrived in her place. Vegas became the proving ground for a career that is now undeniably stadium-ready. What role did industry titans like Quincy Jones and Gad play in shielding a young star from the typical traps of fame? Throughout her journey, Jordan didn't just rely on her family. She sought the counsel of some of the most respected figures in music history. Mentorship has been a key factor in her 2026 success, providing her with the wisdom to navigate contracts and creative blocks. These legends didn't try to change her, they protected her. By listening to those who had seen it all, Jordan learned how to value substance over sensation. This network of elder statesmen in music gave her a level of credibility that other child stars often lack. In 2026, her collaborations with Gad show a maturity that is rare for her age, blending veteran experience with youthful innovation. These relationships provided a protective barrier against the predatory side of the industry, allowing her to focus on her craft while others handled the political warfare of the business. Is the most powerful word in a young artist's vocabulary the one that most people are too afraid to ever use? A defining characteristic of Jordan's 2026 rise is her frequent use of the word no. She has famously turned down massive brand deals, film roles, and collaboration requests that didn't align with her core values or artistic vision. In an industry that demands constant growth and profit, her refusal to compromise has actually made her more valuable. By being selective, she has maintained a level of prestige that is almost unheard of for an artist who started on a talent show. This selective approach has created a sense of scarcity, making every project she does release feel like a major event. In 2026, we see the results of this discipline, a clean professional reputation, and a brand that is untainted by the sellout labels that plague her peers. She has proven that being unavailable is sometimes the best way to become the most wanted artist in the country. Will we look back at the Jordan model as the definitive guide for how to handle young talent in the digital age? As we move toward the latter half of 2026, her trajectory is being analyzed as the new gold standard. She has proven that you do not have to sell your soul or your childhood to have a seat at the table in the American music industry. By prioritizing health, voice preservation, and creative freedom over quick, short-term profits, she has built a foundation that could last for the next 50 years. The industry gatekeepers who once doubted her are now scrambling to find the next, but they are discovering that her success wasn't just luck. It was a decade of discipline and a refusal to become another industry casualty. She has essentially disrupted the traditional child star business model, replacing it with a more humane and sustainable path that values the artist as a human being first and a product second. Is Jordan the exception to the rule, Or has she permanently changed the game for every young singer who follows? As 2026 draws to a close, her stadium-level success and critical acclaim suggest that the public is more than ready for artists who value substance over sensation. The child star curse may still be alive for some, but for the girl who stood her ground in a barefoot rebellion, it is officially a thing of the past. Her story serves as a powerful reminder that in the world of music, the only way to truly conquer the industry is to never let it change who you are in the first place. Whether she is performing at the Super Bowl or an intimate theater, she remains the same authentic soul that the world first fell in love with, just stronger, smarter, and more determined. We will continue to follow her record-breaking journey as she cements her place in the history books of American music, barefoot, and completely unafraid.